Okay. Hey everyone. How we doing? Hopefully you all can hear me. Let me know if the music is too loud or if anything sounds weird. But what's going on? I'm Sam Lazarus, creative director for Rokoko, and today we're going to be playing around with a new Vision 3.0 AI motion capture solution that we just released. Golly, what was it, last week? Hey, Tony. Hey, Kurgu Craft. What's going on? So I thought, we're going to hopefully do some recordings. And I made some recordings if the live stream gods decide to curse this stream. I've already made some recordings in case OBS doesn't want to record while I'm streaming. But I think that should be fine because I've done it before. We're going to make some video recordings of myself, no suit, no gloves, no anything, load them up into Rokoko Vision, the new version, which has a completely new solver on the back end that is really great. And then we're going to take those clips and see what we get, iterate maybe. And I've got a little scene that I want to make, in mind. And if anybody has any ideas, feel free to put them in the chat and we can, try and mess around with them. Also, it's completely free to hop onto Vision right now for anyone. We give you some free credits to get started. And then if you want to, keep using the service, we have, basic subscriptions up to like pro subscriptions that are all very affordable relative to the other AI tools. And generally relative, right? But it is, it does cost something. And I think, what's interesting is Epic and in Unreal, if you're an Unreal user, and we will be hopping into Unreal later, just released their own body motion capture solution as well, which is great, which is totally free forever. And so if you're interested in that, I encourage you to check it out. There are reasons that I like ours. There's reasons that theirs is great, and my opinion on this is always, because I'm looking at it from the perspective of the customer, which is not someone who's diehard Rokoko. And the truth is there's no one good, perfect workflow for everyone. Depending on what you need, certain workflows are going to be better. Our solution is going to be good if you want to do a bunch of looping, or if you want to, move a little bit faster. Their solution is great. If you want it to be completely free forever. But anyway, we can get into some of the pros and cons of both as we get going. So yeah, the way that the new AI mocap system works. And you can go check out, we have a launch video, and then we have a short tutorial video that goes through how it all works. That should get you started on our YouTube channel. But the way it works is basically it's a monocular AI vision system, mocap system. So you just have to load in a video. It can be a video from your phone. It can be a 4K video. It can be a 1080 video. It can be a 720p video. It can be a 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, up to 120 frames per second. The higher quality and the higher frames per second, especially over 1080 anything over 1080 is pretty much fine as long as your body is defined. Higher frames will get you kind of better results, I've found. So if you can shoot at 60 to upload, which you can just do from your phone, it works really well. And that's all you need. You need one video. And I think I'm stressing that because in the past you've needed to get this level of quality, you've needed dual camera setups and things like that, and you've needed more than just a single video. And this is looking pretty good now with just a single video. And there are also limitations to this system, right? There are definitely things you can't do, or that might be easier to do in either a more expensive full body system, or I don't know. Again, every workflow has different use cases. The really amazing thing about this workflow that we're going to be looking at is that with Rokoko, you can loop and smooth clips. So that goes for our body motion capture, but also for our AI mocap. And the ability to add smoothing to any version of motion capture on any system, XNs, Vicon, whatever, being able to add smoothing can really be great, in my opinion, especially for Rokoko motion capture or like an XNs. I would do it on every clip in Unreal if I didn't have the option to do it in Rokoko Studio. But it adds a level of, audiences have been trained now to really expect smooth animated characters because of Pixar and because of Disney. And so the ability to add smoothing is really amazing. I'm just going to open up Rokoko Studio so there's something going on the screen. But then also looping. We can also add loops to our clips, and that's also really great because if I have a monster here and like this is one of the AI clips, and I wanted to loop this for whatever reason or have this be ready for a game dev attack or something. Usually you want it to be like looped. There's a lot of reasons you might want a clip to be looped, and the ability to do that before you get to Blender or before you get to Unreal is amazing, and especially with how easy it is. So we're gonna make a bunch of, we're gonna make a little scene, and again, if anybody has any ideas that they want to see, put it in the chat, and we'll do some videos. The great thing about this system again is it's easy, right? I just need to make a video. I just need to record a video quickly, and I can load it, and I can have multiple multiple clips going at the same time, which again, we were talking about the differences between this and the new Unreal system. The new Unreal system, and it will probably continue to change and get better. It's great. Make no mistake, I love it. And you can also do face capture with it, kind of, but it runs locally. It's processed locally, and that means that it can take a really long time, depending on the length of your clip, and also it can bog your computer down, much like MetaHuman Animator used to do in its first version. So it'll probably get better, but the great thing about this system, the Rokoko system, is that it's processed in the cloud, which has pros and cons, but I don't really know what the cons would be. The pros are that it doesn't bog down your system and it moves faster because we've got dedicated systems that are processing it in the background. Drinking something gross and having a reaction, great. Let's do it. We're gonna do that first, and we're gonna see what we get. I'm gonna get a prop of some kind. But yeah. Maybe we'll get into Blender, Tony, at the end of the stream. God, I really haven't been using Blender that much. But yes, at the end of the stream, we can get into Blender. I want to do some retargeting in Unreal first. But also, Tony, I can give you some great, if you want to know some great animation retargeting tutorials, we can go look at those too later before, because there are some great Blender people who are much better than I am, although we can do it as well. Okay, so we are going to do a little test recording first and see if we can, what happens. Should be fine. And I'm just going to go to my videos and look at this. I was just doing that. So this is how we're going to make our videos, and I'm not going to be able to see the chat as much while I do this. Although maybe I can actually. Hold on. What if I go like this? Is this insane? I don't know. Perhaps. I think actually no. I think this is okay. I think I can see everyone and you can see me. So I'm just going to step back and basically start doing some recording. So and then Electroluxia, very interested in Rokoko. This information will be able to port it into Autodesk 3ds Max. Yeah. All this, you can bring all this data into Maya or into Motion Builder or whatever. You can use it anywhere. We have tutorials on that stuff on our channel if you want them. Hey, what's going on? TIGXR. Okay, let's do drinking something and having a reaction. Let's do our first one. So this is also talk a little bit about this is the scene. I like the clothing I'm wearing. I think this is really good for this process. Generally, absolute black is not great to wear but like a dark purple is fine, I think. And you can basically see the definition of how my arms are moving against the background, right? That's what you're looking for, is contrast against the background. Now, ideally, there wouldn't be like objects in the background. It would just be like a white wall and a floor. But this should work fine and has in the past. And again, sometimes if the live streaming gods decide to give us awful takes for everything we record, I've got a couple that I know will work, but this should work. Part of the other thing that's nice about this system is that because the processing is fast, you get to see if you have results quickly. And that is good, because if you record a bunch of stuff and kind of get out of your recording vibe and mode, and then you go and that afternoon you're working with the data and you're like, oh, this data is bad, or I needed to change something, and you haven't been able to see that data until, for an hour or whatever. It's annoying to have to go back and do more mocap. I like to do all my mocap kind of at once, verify that it looks good in the moment, and then move on to scene building and doing everything else. Show an eye clone demonstration for retargeting. It seems to not retarget fingers as accurately as I see inside Rokoko Studio. So Nidus69, I'll talk about that in a second. But let me just do one recording and get it started. But yes, my outfit I think is pretty good for this process. You want to do something like this. You want to contrast with the background is the goal. Okay, so let's hit record. Okay. And who knows? So hit stop recording. Then we're going to go, and I'm just going to move this over here and show you what I'm going to do right now. And we'll kind of just get into this mode in a second. But here's this recording that I just made, right? So I'm going to clip my in and out points because I don't want to have myself out of the frame. Ideally, I want everything to be in frame. And then I just like to check the out point. Okay, we can cut that a little bit back. Hit create. And we're off to the races. So we need to stay on this page while it's uploading and submitting. But we'll see a change in this page. Yeah, give me an Oscar. I know. Thank you. I mean, doing mocap, you learn how hard and vulnerable and embarrassing acting is so quickly. And I've learned that a million times over. So, but yeah, as soon as we get into waiting in queue, at this point, I can just go back to all motions, create new. If I have another video, load it in, get it going. So they will all process simultaneously. Having multiple clips processing will not slow down the processing of clips. This is all really great for this workflow in my experience, having worked with it a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to record the things that I want to... Hey, what's going on, Nikki? I want to... Okay, no, first I will answer Nidus. Can you show an iClone demonstration for retargeting? It seems to not retarget fingers as accurately. So in iClone, I use the Mixamo export from Rokoko Studio generally. But if you can't use that, use the Newton default export. The iClone export from Rokoko Studio has always given me issues. So I use the Mixamo one. I know that's confusing and annoying, and it's something that's on the list to continue working on. It should work. It just, depending on what version of iClone you're in. Anyway, the safe one is Mixamo. Load that into your character, and then you might have to do some global position editing of the fingers. Usually the thumb is the main one, and that's normal. That's just the way it is. The way that you can fix that is that because the characters are so different, you kind of have to do it typically. Yeah, you all tried the tutorial. Yeah, Tony, are you in iClone too? I thought you were in Blender. Yeah, but it's typical to have to make like global adjustments to fingers, and by global I mean that. So over the entire course of the animation, I want the thumb to be in a slightly different position, and again, it depends on how the character is initial position is set up. Some characters are set up as their rest pose, all their fingers are flat. Some are like this with a thumb. Some are like this with the fingers. So sometimes you need to do that, and yeah, you need to if you want to have a persistent one, you could set up a profile and icon. Yeah, Mixamo default character profile. Yeah, I would do that, Nidus. And I'm not an icon pro. I'm gonna try and be doing more of these live streams. It's fun that so many people are here. Hi everyone. But yeah, we should do an iClone one. But yeah, iClone, I generally I find that it works. I mean, but I do think fingers are just always. Generally, I kind of build in that time that I'm going to have to do something there quickly in the beginning. And if I'm working with a single character, then it'll be fixed for the course of working with that character or whatever. But okay, so the scene that I want to make, and again, I think put more suggestions in the chat that you want to see, but is like a god creature turning around and like raising their arms up and floating up and over a crowd of robots or a crowd of ogres or something like that. And for finger movements, oh yes, SG. No finger movements on Vision. So that is with what we're doing today. But soon you'll be able to combine Vision with smart gloves, which will be amazing. But anyway, yes, a god turning around, and then so I'm gonna do these recordings, and I'll do them both in a single. No, I'll do them in 2 separate clips, and then yeah, it's specific because that's what I thought of earlier, and I feel like it'll work well. If anybody has any other ideas, I'm super down. But also, I'm trying to do what I've done in the past with a lot of AI mocap, which isn't compelling, especially with ours. Just because as I try to be a little clean and I try to act, it comes off as a little robotic. So I'm trying to like do an emotional scene, or something. I don't know, but yeah. But give ideas in the chat, and in the meantime, I'm gonna be recording my weird god worshipping floating scene. Okay, clip 1. Wait. Okay. So this happens. Okay, I psyched myself out. I didn't know if I was actually recording. I was. Okay. I swear it's gonna make sense once we get into Unreal. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, excuse me, touching my nose. I'm gonna load this in, and in the background, I'll make myself smaller for a second. But yeah, I like to just do these like as I go. This is kind of my workflow, right? Is because that way, by the time I open up Rokoko Studio, I've got my videos ready to be looked at, which is awesome. Create, done, keep moving, keep recording. Okay, next one. These are gonna be like the robot or the crowd people. Okay, so my method here is this is like the shot I have is I'm pulling back from this creature as it turns around, it floats up in the air, we're passing through a crowd. And so I want a looping crowd of creatures. And that is going to be what I can do with the video that I just made, where I'm kind of standing in still and there's a little natural movement, and then I'm doing these like, worshiping whatever things. Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to get in character, but I'm trying to be like a robot. But yes, when we loop them, I can offset a bunch of copies of them and create a really big crowd with very little effort. So that's one of the great things about like combining specifically this tool with looping is it's great. It's just a great use case. Yeah, so no finger movements. There's not a way to natively combine the gloves like super easily with your mocap. You can just by recording at the same time as you record your video and then linking it up in Unreal. But what will exist soon is that in Studio there will be a way to like natively combine a recording with your glove data. And that will be very exciting because then we'll also be able to combine our facial motion capture, and everything will be nice and quick and fast and with detail. And face capture and finger capture are two issues that AI mocap is constantly struggling with. Okay. Can you do something that picture frame in the background? So the picture frame in the background is a polar bear. What about some dancing with crossing arms and legs? Let's try that. Okay. Tiptoe won't work very well probably, but I can steal something and leave. No. So the Smart Suit Pro is not useless now. No. The Smart Suit Pro is definitely not useless. So I think the important thing to understand with like AI mocap is that we're going to be using it, but there are limits to what we can do here, which is what you would expect relative to the price, right? Like there's a reason that we sell a suit for thousands of dollars, and this is like almost, it's not free, but it's very cheap relative. If it worked as well as having a suit, it would not be free. And there is no option that does that, right? There are video AI things that do work as well as suits, but you need about 8 cameras and you need expensive software and it takes time. And there's so many. I mean, I love my suit and I use my suit mostly. What the main use case I would have for this tool is like, if I didn't have the money for a suit, which is a lot of people, is that they just don't have the cash for a suit. So if I didn't have the money for the suit, but even if I did have a suit, if I did have a suit, the use case is more like I don't want to hop in the suit and I want to quickly create a looped character that is custom from this scene or whatever. This god animation I would do in a suit normally, but we're kind of seeing if we can do main character motions with this tool, which you can. But again, yeah, there's no one right mocap tool. There really isn't. It depends on everyone's situation, budget, all of that comes in. Is it live? Is it not? Okay, stealing something, and then dancing and crossing. So let's do some dancing first. Okay. Awful dancing. Really bad. Okay, let's do stealing something. Okay. And then I'm just going to try and do some natural movements. And then we'll move into some processing. Because one thing that I'm always trying to do with AI mocap is see if it can pick up on these natural movements that aren't as specific as doing an action, but are more like trying to capture the vibe of someone. Okay. So nothing too crazy. Okay, and let's get into it now. I can make myself small and I can pay more attention to the chat here. Let me know if I'm blocking anything with my little camera. And yeah, so do you recommend facing towards the camera? Facing towards the camera. The face, it helps, plays a role in the tool's ability to tell body direction and stuff like that. And now I'm just going to go through and start basically uploading all of my different clips. Excuse me for the burp. I've got my little Red Bull here. So it looks like this is the end point right about here. And we're going to do this like quickly. This is again the great thing about this is that wait, what is this one? Oh, this was the robot. Okay, this is the second one. Create. As soon as this uploads. Can it glitch out and drift? Yeah, it can totally glitch out. But it doesn't usually, but it won't drift. And it won't really glitch. What it can do is that you can get odd, if it, the big issue with AI mocap is occlusion, right? Is that the camera needs to be able to see all the limbs, and that's why having multiple cameras, which like we will hopefully be adding in at some point, can like make things more accurate. So glitching out is definitely a part of it. Again, I do want to be clear that, there are limitations to this system. And I think my goal is always like there are limitations to our suit as well. There's limitations to every single system. But yeah, so that's why I like that it's iterative like this, that I'm like doing multiple clips at once and that I can see them. And then I can decide if I'm done or not, or if I need to keep making things. So the glitching that we can possibly see, and so what will happen is basically all these clips are being loaded into Rokoko Studio. So if I go and close out this scene, and I load in our scene here, so this one, oh, this is the, oh look, here's drinking the drink and being disgusted. It looks pretty good. Oh man, it looks great. Awesome. Looks really good. So this is holding up the can, taking a sip. Oh, gross. What the hell? Ugh. Like, that is pretty freaking legit. That looks great. And I wasn't really, this is kind of what I was doing on the last clip that we just made, where I was like just trying to be natural. Like, that looks really good right there. This looks very natural, very human, which I know it sounds silly. Of course it should look natural and human. But that's can be the tricky part with AI mocap. So this is the robot. This is the god. Oh man, this is gonna be cool. Sometimes it's frustrating. I can't move for whatever reason. So all these new AI tools, if you're wondering if we're working on a cleanup tool. Yeah, and I think like the important thing with that, this is gonna be a freaking cool scene. The important thing with that is that if the point that I want to make is like, if there was, of course, what we want to do is like make the best quality possible. And if that was possible by like running things through an AI algorithm or whatever, like at the suit clips, then that would be something we would be doing. And it might be possible, but it's not like easily possible, at least from what I understand. Now, the thing that we have done is added the smoothing. Yeah, I know the clip 1, clip 2, it could be better. Sorry, I'm just turning off I've got my notifications on. I'm sorry. There we go. But yeah, it should have a better naming convention. That'll go in the next version. That's good feedback. Anyway, this is the god. So this is going to be our like god slowly turning around, facing the camera. Oh, pulling back, rising into the air like a phoenix. I mean, this looks great. And again, so this clip I was turning around. And there's some wonkiness with the feet. The feet don't look great. But like that, I'm not going to be focusing on the feet in this shot. And oftentimes I've found with some of the AI mocap, the feet can look a little bit funky. So I'm going to actually shut down Studio. And because I want to keep creating these. Which one did I just do? Ooh. Oh, that was the dancing one. Okay. I don't know if I uploaded it. I don't think I did. Okay, so I'm going to upload the dancing one. Crossing my arms, doing my dancing. When did this finish? Okay. Create. Then we got 2 more. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, Tony, do you recommend actively using items while recording? Probably actually not for AI. This tool, I don't know, honestly. I need to stress test it more. But you do want it to, the issue is occlusion. So you do want it to be able to see, like ideally, your hands at all time. And if you're holding like a backpack prop, you're probably blocking your hands. So I probably wouldn't. And I know I used a prop when I just did that recording. And if I could go back in time, I would change it. But it seemed to look great. So it depends, right? I don't know. Again, it should be getting your wrist movement, but no finger movement. So. Okay, just one more. Yeah, Arc Infinium. That would be the goal. And you think that would be really easy to do, and it probably is easy to do, to a degree, but we got a bunch of irons in the fire. Okay, there we go. That's the last one. Yeah, Arc Infinium. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the holy grail. There's a certain point. Yeah. And again, like what I would say is, yeah, I mean, yeah, it should be that easy. What's going on? But it's so hard to do. It turns out. And I know truly, I really actually know so little about the science of how our tech works, But what I do know is just that having seen the rest of the industry, like there's so often that I'm like, why can't this just work better? And when it comes to mocap, oftentimes, unfortunately, the answer is that it's some sort of like endemic issue to the subject. Mocap has so many issues. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, Arc. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we've got a bunch of our mocap recorded, and in our scene. And again, the way that you can access your mocap is you load it up at create.rokoko.com, and then it dumps it into a scene for you. And you can download Rokoko Studio for free right now. Just go to rokoko.com and download it. You just need to sign up with an email to get an ID, but you can use all this right now, and you get free credits to test this out with a couple videos for your own if you just want to see the system working. Okay, and so what is happening now is that we have received a bunch of data, and we are applying the Rokoko footlock system to it. And down here is the Rokoko footlock system, and there's a bunch of keyframes, and each keyframe, like this bar here, this green bar, represents the system thinking that your left foot, specifically, green is L, is left, blue is right foot, your left foot is on the ground. So as long as the system and reality are aligned, you get better motion capture because the system knows when your feet are on the ground. And that's really essential to mocap, especially when it comes to translation in space. Now, the issue is that occasionally the system does not capture it correctly. For example, here, my left foot hits the ground. So this should be here. And additionally, see, you can see my right foot kind of taps the ground here. Refresh scene, so we just get more mocap loaded into the scene from the cloud. But yeah, so you go in and you do these foot contact edits, and that can give you a cleaner result. Now, and you can see here, we fix this. Now, that can give you a better result. Now, if I don't, when I keep getting new takes are being dropped into the scene as we go. Now, that being said, if I turn off locomotion entirely, this is now just the raw take that came in from the AI processing, which is oftentimes great. And oftentimes what I will do is I will not mess with any footlocks at all, because first I will look at how it just came out of the system. Because oftentimes the footlock system, what it's going to do is going to start fighting with the original animation. Now, sometimes you need it to fight with the original animation because I might need the feet to be more locked on the ground. You can see that we have some pretty floaty feet happening here. But the way that and if I needed feet to be locked on the ground, I would go in and I would do my foot contacts, and that'll lock them on the ground better. For me, the way that I use the tool is that I kind of understand that foot locks, I mean, generally in mocap, foot locks are tough. They are tougher in AI mocap depending on the system, but for the Unreal native system, the new Meshcap system, and ours, generally you get these kind of floaty-ish feet that aren't perfect. You can see that, like right here, this foot is on the ground, this right foot. When feet are on the ground, You can see this is the toe. They shouldn't slide. It's sliding. Like, so there are errors. Now the way that I use the tool is my expectations are kind of low, especially for foot contact stuff. And so I'm just gonna live with it. And if I had a character that I needed this dance on, I would frame it like this, or I would frame it with some boxes in front of the feet, or I just wouldn't care. And oftentimes people don't notice. And again, it really depends on what you're doing. Now, if you need it to be better and more AAA and higher quality, even if the feet locks were perfect, you would still probably be going in and doing some sort of editing. So then I would just kind of build that into my, expectations. Anyway, so the important thing is that you can turn on and off locomotion, and I often do. But also, this is pretty good. Again, this is a video that we just shot a second ago of me dancing around. And it looks very natural, and it looks really good. And when we add smoothing, it will look even better. But okay, let's go through and look at a couple of the other clips. Okay, this is our drinking clip. Okay, so this is the first clip that we recorded. This was drinking, and I know we've already looked at it, but reacting to a drink and drinking a drink. If I could side by side these at the same time, I would. Maybe in the post VOD, I will. But this looks great. Again, very natural. Looks good. Reacting to a drink, taking a sip. It's disgusting. Next, and actually, let's rename this drinking gross drink, because when we get into preview, we might want to play around with it more. Okay, so this is the God turning around. Again, I'm not enabling locomotion. I don't need it. I think it looks good without it. Don't need it. So this is God scene turn God turn around. This is the army. Yeah, and I'm just gonna keep locomotion off. I don't need it on. So this is army salutes. Oh, this was the other. This was the dancing, I guess. This is the other dancing. Dancing. Oh, this is the sneaking, stealing and sneaking. Whoop. Dee dee dee. Really good. Looks great. Turn off locomotion, probably better. With that, especially without editing, right? I could go in and do editing, but I think it looks good. Wow, looks really great. I think. Again, it doesn't look perfect. Expectations. This is an AI single video tool, which is very. Again, this is all super new. So this was me just trying to be natural, right? And again, I think I'm just gonna turn off locomotion because I just want to see what the tool spat out. A little stiff. So smoothing will help this. When I'm in motion, it's like better almost. When I'm doing my little dances. Ooh, that looks great. Oh. Okay. Call this natural moves. Nice. Okay. So at this point, we could go through. It doesn't work with multicam yet, Nidus, but it will at some point in the future. So if I wanted to export this out to a program. I could at this point, but I'm not going to. The key part of this is now going into Rokoko Studio Preview. So Rokoko Studio Preview is our alpha beta preview version of the next version of our software. And the reason that it is accessible now is that there's a lot of tools that where is it? There's a lot of tools that we want to add. And this has been doing an interesting thing where I might, so it is a preview version, so sometimes we run into errors and stuff, but I think this is a bug that we need to fix. It's all connected to your account through the cloud. So what we're doing is we're jumping into this alpha version of Rokoko Studio that has the looping and smoothing abilities, and we need it to access the cloud to see all of our clips. And sometimes it doesn't want to new stream cap. It won't force the update quick enough when I'm on live stream. So I'm just making a copy of the scene, and now it should force it to load in all the clips. Stream cap. So this should take a second. Yep, which is what we want. Uh-oh. So we might need to wait a second. For everything to run through the cloud. Now thankfully I've got something that we can keep moving on because I already tested this all, and we can just keep moving. But basically sometimes you might need to wait 5 minutes. Oh, I don't know, maybe it's good that it's taking longer. I want it to be there's data in here that I need to go get. How's the music, everyone? Is the music okay? This level? That's what I'm always curious about. Some music. Oh, it's guitar music. It's very nice having music, so it's not just dead air when I'm not talking. This is good. This is good. This is taking a second. Basically, it's loading in all the clips from Studio. But yeah, very annoying that we have two separate programs that are both called Rokoko Studio. It's just Rokoko Studio and Rokoko Studio Preview. The reason why we split off this new version, there is no, okay, you can't hear the music. Let me turn it up. Okay. Very low audio. Okay, try that. But yeah, the reason we have a new version is basically you'll be able to access this new version from the cloud, which is really great. And it's very low cost in terms of compute power versus the current version of Rokoko Studio, which is built in Unreal Engine, which is built in Unity, and is basically running a game on your computer, kind of, in some ways, because it's rendering things and stuff in a certain way. So anyway, when we're adding these new tools like looping and smoothing that took a lot of resources to work on, we didn't want to build them for the old program. We wanted to build them for where we will be moving. So we gave everyone access to this alpha in order to access these new tools earlier than the launch of the program itself, which it won't be for a while. So anyway, still figuring all that, still making that flow better. Okay, so now it's loading, and now I feel like it's loading for too long. So I might force quit, do what any good visual effects artist does when they're in doubt, force quit the program. In the meantime, we'll open up Unreal. And we're gonna open up. Oh, what are we? Where are we working? We are Vision 3 workflow. Nope. Vision office hours. Vision, I believe it's called. Okay. Nidus, I don't know. I've never seen that. Decades old mocap. That can't be right. But an old mocap. Huh. I don't know. I'll ask the team. Maybe those scenes are still down in the projects. Or in an old account. Like the starter account, maybe? I don't know. Okay, is this gonna load? Oh, no. Okay. So this might take a second, in which case, see what we want to do here. So I really want to show this looping and smoothing. It's key to this whole deal, in my opinion. But yeah, let's just go to this one. Okay, yeah, I did these movements specifically earlier just to test if this would work. So we can just work with these ones instead for now. Huh, Nidus, bizarre. I don't know. Okay. So for this one, I don't need it to be looping, but I do want smoothing to be applied. And to do that, we are going to... make this bigger first of all. Hit plus on our little smoothing track. By default, it shows up as 7. If we put it to 10, well, let's put it to 0 first of all. So 0, this is just the animation as it was normally. Put it to 10, and we see if you can see the difference. Like, actually doesn't look horrible in this use case because I like it to be really slow, but generally that is like way too smooth. I mean, this kind of looks good given what we are going to be doing. But I usually keep it around 7, and I find that's a good mix of like smoothness and like the original natural motion of the mocap. Okay, I do want to... Let me try and open this again. Just load. I want to look at the new clips. But I'm very impatient. So I did part of what I wanted to do this, this animation is that I had an idea and I had a character that looks sick. This guy, he's got some cool cloth physics and everything. Which is what we want. We want this to look nice and cool. So, in order to get our mocap in, we haven't exported it yet. Okay, fine. Oh. Frustrating. We'll use this stuff. So here's the god turning around. And I'm going to call this rename clip God 01. And we are going to hit export. Export. God 01. And then we do the robot army saluting. So this one we do want to be looped. And we are going to add a little bit of smoothing to it as well. because I think smoothing goes good on every clip. Add it at 6. There's some settings down here in the bottom right that are being blocked that I'm adjusting. And then we're gonna add a loop. And we're gonna apply loop magic. And this is so amazing that we can do this. Make the transition time 1 second. And let's play through it. And when the playhead gets to the end, that's when the loop will happen. So let's see how smooth it is at that point. Pretty smooth. Looks good. I might change the end point. I'm also gonna change the transition time with 1.5, and we're going to rename this robot or army 02, and we are going to export the loop. To save. And there we go. Now, okay, so now we're gonna go into Unreal, and while we're doing that, I'm gonna open up Stream Cap, and I'm just gonna try and let that load in the background, because I do want to see the rest of the clips that we were playing with. And now we are going to go and import some mocap. So on our desktop, we have these 2 clips. Hit open. I go to animations, and I'm going to make sure the skeleton is empty. I already have clips loaded into this scene. Previously, I have. When I've done that, sometimes it will default to when you're loading in new clips, it will default to an old skeleton. I find that that's bad. So I like my skeleton to be clear, none, under animations. Hit import. And we've got our god. Good. And we've got our army. Now, let's do the army first. And I meant to... Did I get everyone? I meant to download... No, I didn't. Okay. So I want a dystopian... Ooh, let's crash the computer really quick. I just need to grab a little robot. Okay, robot downloading. And then we are going to we're going to get it going. So it's downloading the robot. So in the meantime, let's do our God mocap. So God 01, retarget animations. And we have tutorials for all of this on our channel. Celestial being full. Export anim, mocap. There we go. Now we've got our robot 17. I like to open up the skeletal mesh so that it doesn't reload during the retargeting phase, because when you retarget your mocap, it needs to load that mesh, and if it's the first time loading the mesh and loading all the textures and preparing the shaders, it'll exit you out of the retargeting window, which is frustrating. Army. Retarget. Go find our robot 17. Ooh, looks really good right from the jump. Export. Okay, so at this point, remember, this is a looped clip. So if I start the scene, this just loops forever. That's it. It just loops and loops and loops and loops and loops. And that is really great because what I can do is grab him, copy. On this copy, go to skeletal mesh, offset the initial position, grab him, make a copy, go to the skeletal mesh, offset the initial position differently, make a copy, go to the skeletal mesh, offset. Oh, I screwed up now. It's easy to screw this up sometimes when you're doing it this way. And now, so hold on, these two. There we go. And look at that. This is looping forever. These guys will always loop, no matter what's going on in my sequencer, no matter where I place them. This crowd of guys is now done, and they're varied enough that, you know, it looks okay. Now what I can do is I can make a level sequence, God, and I can add in my fellow here, celestial being, add in the God animation. And here, let's play it back. Okay, turn around. So here, let's take him, put him right here. Okay, looks awesome. And now what we want to do looks pretty darn good. Now what we would do is we would take this and we would add a couple cheeky keyframes here. Like this. And I would slow things down a little. So we would kind of do things like this. And then we would go like this. And then what we would, so I'm sorry I'm going silent mode, but I'm just doing a little work. And then we would add some, so this has a control rig. that came with the asset. We could do everything with an FK control rig, which you don't need an included asset. However, we do have this control rig that came with this character, which is why it's just a great character to have. And here I can do non-additive edits, adding to this animation. So here, for example, I want the feet to kind of go like this. Kind of thing, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, we've got a pretty cool little thing. I can turn on auto keying as well and make my life a little bit easier here. Now I can just add a keyframe. Boom. And if I was doing this right, I would go and like look at Superman assets or something. Try and get the posing right. But the idea would be something like this now. Create camera, cine camera, get in the cine camera, add it to our scene, go up to the top, bring this down, put the camera on top, go to the beginning of the scene, add our little transform. You know, this kind of vibe. I didn't even mess with the camera settings or anything. They are the wrong settings. Okay, here we go. Focus. You know. If you don't have a control rig, you can just use an FK control rig. So when you go to control rig, right here, there's always this option, FK control rig. And this is just, it's not an IK control rig, but that's fine. You don't need an IK control rig. And you can just do the same thing. It just takes a little bit, it's just a little different. Okay, so now at this point, come on. You know what we gotta do here. We gotta do a little of this. We gotta do a little of this. We gotta do a little this. We gotta do a little of that. Hello. This is when things actually start to look cool. Always set my source radius to at least 20. 40 is even better. I mean, what, are we just gonna leave this light white? No. Are we doing all of the animations today? No, but we are going to go see, no, this did not load. So frustrating. But we did do our other animations. We kind of already looked at those in studio. Okay, now I'm just getting distracted by a cool scene. Yes, but anyway, this looks really awesome. I think this came out really great. And obviously, like, we could spend a lot more time on it, but the basic idea, I think, you know, totally works. I mean, what would be really great is if I could copy all these guys. Now this is where you kind of get into like interesting cloner things and stuff like that. So the issue with this is that all of these guys you know, they've only been copied a few times, so they're gonna be kind of too in sync. You could randomize all these with a cloner. There's a bunch of different ways to do stuff like that. Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? And then what we could even do. Yes. 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 Rise. Rise. And then see what we need to do though here. The issue here now is we don't want this. We want this. Cool. You know, pretty basic, and rudimentary, but like great enough to get us rolling and making some cool stuff. Oh, you know what? I didn't sync these. Oh my gosh, is that it? No, I just need to sync those. Now if I open them up in Studio, it'll probably work. Okay, this is the last thing we're gonna try, and then we might call the stream. This is a good one. And then, yeah, again, I'm going to be trying to do more of these streams as we keep moving forward. We got to do more Blender. We got to get in some iClone. I just need to prepare a little bit better for those things. I think it's probably we're due a new Blender tutorial anyway, so it's time to hop back into Blender. However, the best Blender workflow, Rokoko Blender, that I could recommend. Let me pull it up. Rokoko. Okay. Okay, yeah. So this right here, take this and put it in the chat. Show the retargeting trick now. I'm not sure, Tony. Were you just talking about retargeting in Blender? If that's what you're talking about, this is the tutorial that I would recommend for that. This 2025 best Blender motion capture tutorial. I do actually think this is probably one of the better tutorials no matter what type of mocap you're working with. If you're working with Rokoko, I would definitely recommend this tutorial and this workflow. It should still all work. And it works on Auto Rig Pro, which is a really great Blender plugin for motion capture. And more importantly, this takes you through the basics of retargeting, the recommended workflow for us for retargeting, which again is very subjective of what the best workflow is, and depending on what your needs are, right? But I have found generally this is the workflow that I would be using if I was working in Blender. And then importantly, this workflow was completed by CG Dive, who is a full-time Blender guru. And, oh, did I just crash everything? I don't know. Who is a full-time Blender guru and goes through everything that we do in the Rokoko version. Basically, I just go through and skim his version and make it simplified here. But this link is to the full, everything you could ever need to know. So it's really, so George, I want to port from Mixamo like rig with hands, fingers to source it. I installed 2 cameras for sure. So George, you might be talking about the Vision, our old Vision system, but with the current one, you just feed it a monocular, one single video in it, and it works great. So yeah, so this is the tutorial I would go to if you're in Blender for retargeting, and then it leads you to, and I put that in the chat right here, but it leads you to, in the description, this pro level one, which is freaking, it tells you everything you need to know about Blender retargeting, from my perspective. So with that, this was a great stream, really fun to play around with all the new tools. Looks like we got a couple issues loading them into preview, but yeah, this was all such good results from all the videos that we made. The sneaking, I'm sneaking. Oh, I'm reaching. Oh. Drinking the gross drink. These were great suggestions, everyone. So thanks for chatting, and yeah, super fun. We'll see you hopefully next week. I think I'll be jumping on again, and yeah. Okay, new tutorial coming out again, showing kind of some of the stuff we did today. Should be coming out tomorrow.